I am filled with courage and determination. I am filled with pride. Not the vain pride of possession, but the greater pride of doing and accomplishment. For in these United States, there are great doings and great accomplishments, and there are mighty reservoirs of courage and determination. I stand on a high place, and I say, this is America. I say, this is my America. And I turn my face to the east, and I see many peoples. I see a mixture of peoples in great cities, and I see a vast network of transportation facilities knitting these cities. I see the frothy wakes of coastwise shipping, the smudge of oil and coal smoke against the horizon, hear distant hum of turbines, the faint reverberation of wings. And all these are but part of the network linking this city with that city, and these peoples with those peoples. Strangers to one another, and yet not strangers, but each a citizen of this Commonwealth, and each with the deep and unutterable desire to make America a living human force for the greater good of her citizens and the never-ending glory of her neighbors. And to the east I see industry in the halls of science and learning, and the higher expression of the arts. And my heart swells with pride, for there in the east is much of doing and accomplishment. And I am proud, for this same east is part of America, and I too am a part of America. And I turn my face to the south. I turn my face south to the beauty of the magnolia trees and the scent of honeysuckle and the soft rhythmic lullaby of a Negro woman. I turn my face to the gospel shouting and the sweating bodies and the chanting voice of the field hands. I see cotton in the field and cotton in the bale. I see tobacco in the field and tobacco in the cask. And there are the piney woods and the riverboats on the Mississippi and the lusciousness of a Georgia peach and that certain blue of Kentucky bluegrass. I turn my face to New Orleans and Memphis and Savannah and Atlanta and to the cabin where Lincoln was reared and the estate where Washington was. I see the oil and rice fields of Louisiana and the vast expanse of Texas, and I feel a rising emotion in my throat. And I am proud, for this same South is a part of America, and I too am a part of America. And from my pinnacle, I turn my face north. I turn my face to the north, and there are lakes and forests and green rolling farms and a labyrinth of mines, and all the natural wealth to keep a dozen great nations are here. Barley and rye and flax and oats and corn and wheat and clover, rich beds of iron ore and salt mines and silver mines and copper and coal. And I see butter fat and good wheat flour and milk and cream and fresh killed meat. And I smell the violets of Wisconsin and the wild prairie rose of North Dakota and the apple blossoms of Michigan. And I am proud, for this same North is a part of America, and I too am a part of America. And finally, I turn to the west. I turn to the west and I see Washington. I see the hunter's green of her forests and the icy blue of her lakes. And I see the rivers and valleys of Oregon, and thousands of cattle and millions of sheep, and a gray coyote whipping across the eastern badlands, and frantic horses, and men showing gray and sweaty in the corral dust. And in the west I see California. I see the redwoods of California, and I see a coastline washed by the Pacific, and I see the grim beauty of Death Valley, burned by the sun, and gleaming with the salt of a long-forgotten sea, and orange blossoms, and bougainvillea, and the sky filled with test pilots, and the highways filled with the rush of engines, and the beaches and the mountains and the deserts teeming with visitors of every color, creed, and ideology. And I see Nevada. I see Reno, the biggest little city in the world. And there is Montana, tinted by her copper mines, and Utah and Idaho, and the painted desert of Arizona, and the clean, dry air of New Mexico. And I look at the West, so full of people and places and things, and strangeness and beauty, and I am proud, for this same West is a part of America, and I, too, am a part of America. And with deep conviction and great dignity, we must consider what must be done, for there is much to do. We must accept our duties as citizens with better grace than ever before. We must poll our vote with greater thought and rear our children with diligence, so they will be more intelligent citizens. And we must not turn our backs on our neighbor's distress or close our eyes to chicanery among those whom we have clothed with the dignity of public office. For we must be a united force with courage, with dignity, with humility, but with the wrath of a vengeful heaven for anyone within or without our borders who would tamper for one instant with our fine heritage. For this is America, and you and I are part of America, and we are proud.
Dear Lords, if there be vanity in our hearts this day, let it be dissolved in humility. Surely at no time in the existence of this land, this nation, have we had more reason for rejoicing and thanksgiving, but surely there has never been more need for a humble heart. For whom God anoints with his blessings, he likewise burdens with grave responsibilities. We thank thee, O Heavenly Father, for an end to the war. We thank thee for peace. But with our thanks, we give our pledge to conduct this peace with justice, with humility, without prejudice, nor malice, nor hatred toward any man. We commend to thy keeping our war dead, and we thank thee for the lives of our young men and young women whom you have spared with the end of hostilities. Now we pledge these lives to make a better world for all to live in. We pledge these young lives to honesty, to tolerance, to decency. We ask thy gracious blessings upon our national and our world leaders, that they may act with more than human understanding, more than human intelligence, in uniting us all into a world fellowship under God. Bless us one, and bless us all, now and forevermore. Amen.
We who have life upon this earth for so short a span must not grieve too deeply when one or another among us drop by the wayside to return to Mother Earth, from whence our corporal beings came. Rather should there be happiness and deep soul-stirring satisfaction in the knowledge that the soul and spirit lives on, not only in that beautiful realm of God of which we know so little, but here on earth, for no one can doubt that the sweetness and goodness and gentleness which was Irene will continue to live and to permeate and make fragrant all the places which were her earthly haunts. She brought something fine into the world, and it must remain, even though she has departed. We should be thankful that she was allowed to be with us for a little, and not bitter that she has gone from us for a little.